Let's talk theater with Julie Whitney Scott.
Welcome to Julie Whitney Scott Presents. I am so thrilled and happy to have once again with me Miss Lita Hoffman from Catco's. She is coming to us today to bring us some of her cast members from their newest production that's coming out this holiday season in December called A Columbus Christmas Carol. Yeah, you know about that story. It's Carol time, but put on with a switch and a new kind of twist that only we can do here in Central Ohio, because we know how to make it rock down here, even during Christmas time. We want to make sure that everything that is presented from Central Ohio is something that is unique, and that's what this play is about. So, Lita, welcome once again. And would you please do the honor of telling us a little bit about your new upcoming production that you are directing, and introduce us to two of your cast members that you have with us today.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having us. Yeah, so I'm directing A Columbus Christmas Carol. It was written by Juliana Gonzalez, and it's been adapted, this story, specifically to be set in Columbus. Featuring a cast of Ohio actors. And this story takes place in the present day, centers around a woman named Ebony Scrooge, who was visited by a few ghosts. You may recognize this story from a number of other tellings of it. So this is an adaptation from Charles Dickens' novella and all of the versions of Christmas Carol that you may have seen before, but set right now in Columbus, featuring a whole cast of Ohio actors. So it's been a really great time. We're in rehearsals right now. We open on December 16th. We've been having a great time in rehearsal, and I've got two actors here from the show. Now, Nadja Simmons, who plays Ghost Number 1, and Kathy Mendenhall, who plays Scrooge's mom.
Why don't we start off with the youngest of the group? You know, sometimes we always want the elders to go first. I'm an elder. Miss Kathy, you look like you're an elder. But this time, we're going to let the youngin' go first and talk to us first. Tell us about you, a little bit about what you're doing and your acting, because this is Let's Talk Theater. We want to know just a little bit about why you do what you do, why are you in theater, and then tell us a little bit about how that got you the role that you're playing.
Sure. So, hi, everybody. I'm Nadja Simmons, and I play Ghost Number 1 in our production of A Columbus Christmas Carol. And I'm super excited. I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio, born and raised, so just south of Columbus. And I went to college in Wisconsin, so at Marquette University. And since then, I've been acting around Wisconsin and Milwaukee. But I had this cool opportunity to come home back to Cincinnati. And then I've been looking at shows that are around, and I know Lita actually from Milwaukee. And so she was telling me she's directing this production of A Columbus Christmas Carol. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I love it. I love the vibe of it. I love that it's local. And so I auditioned, and I am now cast as Ghost Number 1, which is cool. Yeah.
Ooh, you're a ghost. How fun. All right, Miss Kathy, why don't you talk to us? Tell us a little bit about you and your little bit of background, and how did you come to be a part of A Columbus Christmas Carol?
Thank you. My name is Kathy Mendenhall, and I am born and raised in Columbus, Ohio. I actually got involved with theater through church. I think I was about 13 years old, and a young adult at the time wrote a play called After Easter, Then What? And she asked me to play the main role, which was a young girl who ended up getting left behind after the rapture happened. And so that's when I think I really got bit by the bug and realized that's what I wanted to do. And then from there, I've always been involved in music and things like that. But then from there, back before Fort Hays was a high school, it was only a vocational school. And so you would go to your home school, which mine was Brookhaven High School, Bearcats. And I would go there 3 periods in the morning. Then we would get on the Career Center bus and we would go over to whichever career center you went to. And mine was Fort Hays School for the Performing Arts. And I was a theater major there under the direction of Dr. Philip Stanley Wilson. And you went your 11th and 12th grade year. So I learned a lot. There were no male and female. We were all the same. We had to build set, use saws, all the other kinds of stuff. So that was a real eye-opening experience. And then from there, after high school, I really didn't do a whole lot. And then one day last year, year before last, I was just scrolling through Facebook and came across what I thought was an invitation to come and see A Raisin in the Sun. So I'm reading and I'm so excited. It's one of my favorite plays. And then I realized it's an audition. Well, of course, with me being an elder, there were only certain roles I could, and I kept thinking about it. Why don't you do it? Well, just don't tell anybody, just do it. Nobody has to know if you don't get it, just do something for you. So long story short, that's what I did. I applied to audition, got the audition. It was in Mount Vernon, Ohio too, so it's about an hour away. And oh my gosh, ended up getting the role of Mama, Lena Younger, in The Raisin in the Sun. And so that was my first time on stage in 36 years. And then after that, I basically just kind of was just looking around and asking people, do you know of anything going on in Columbus? Because that was a lot to drive back and forth. And they were like, no, you might want to look at Catco. So when I looked at Catco, there really wasn't anything going on, but you could sign up to be on their mailing list. I did that. And all of a sudden I got this email about, a Columbus Christmas Carol. And I looked at it, I had the same thought pattern. Oh, you should do it. No, don't do it, But I went ahead and applied to audition, got the audition. And then when I got a call back, I was really shocked, but thank you. And then a few days later, I found out I got the role of Mama. And I think that's what elders end up doing. You get the role of when you get some Mama. But anyway, I'm really excited to work with Catco.
Well, you said it in a nutshell there. When you get a certain age, there's a certain only roles you can get. So it's one of those things, and I am really proud of you for taking a chance of stepping back out there at your age to do something that you really wanted to do and that brought you joy. And also to just, and it had to bring you a lot of joy because we know them rehearsals, that's a lot of driving back and forth. And I had a couple of friends that was in that theater friends that was in that Raisin of the Sun production that you guys did. And I remember them, having to ride back and forth. But as you said, it was so rewarding though, to be able to be in that. So Lita, talk to us about how are you bringing this together? How is this coming together for you guys? Because of course, we're not in the, in the theater, we're not in person, or are we? And we have to do things a little bit differently now. So talk to us about that experience with the director part.
Yeah, so this play is rehearsed and performed entirely virtually. So Naja's in Cincinnati and has never had to drive to Milwaukee for rehearsals. It's kind of helpful in that way that people can be wherever. So yeah, we meet on Zoom pretty much every night and we talk about the characters. And in some ways I've been really excited as a director. It feels a lot the same. We had the same conversations about why we're telling a story and what the beats are in the play and how the actors interpret their roles. And that's kind of nice and comforting at this moment where I think a lot of us just really miss being in the room. We take 10-minute breaks at the right times. Our stage manager helps us do that. It's all the things that we're used to from a rehearsal room, but in the virtual world. And so that kind of somewhat normalcy has been really nice to just be back talking with people about plays. And we're gonna start filming this coming very soon, this coming weekend. We start filming the production and we're still doing that all virtually. So everyone's got setups in their homes with tripods and lights and we're gonna have usually like a cell phone that is recording somebody's voice and their video, and then also on Zoom so we can all see each other and end up at the same timing. Chris Leva is our digital designer. He's going to edit everything back together. And then we're going to have a final show to share with you all. So it's kind of exciting that, you know, no one has to leave their home. Makes it feel really safe. And I just put Naja's costumes in the mail yesterday, and they're on their way to Cincinnati. And Rowan Winterwood, who's helping us out on the production side, drove Kathy's costumes to her house last night, and they did a, you know, outdoor handoff. So we're getting everybody all of these things, and Shelby and Tabby, who are our costume designers, they're gonna Zoom with these folks after they try on their costume and make sure that things fit and help people, you know, learn how to tie the bow and right, whatever part of their costumes need assistance. Shelby the other day was talking to an actor about his costume and was like reaching through the screen and like, just wish I could, right? Like, zhuzh your tie, but you've got to just do it all with words. Figure it out. And it's, but it's been great because a lot of those normal things like costume fittings, right? Like the rehearsal process, they're actually quite similar. We just happen to be talking to each other through these screens.
Nigel, you being a young one of the crowd, I'm sure that there is probably no problems at all, or is there, for you to be able to adjust to this new way of getting directions, you know, from a director and costumes and having to be your own light person and stuff. Tell me, do you think it's easier for you since, you know, I don't know your age, but I'm looking at you. You look like one of my grandkids. So you probably was born like this, you know, and that. I'm just guessing. I'm just guessing. I could be wrong. But has it been easy, you think, for you to adjust? And Kathy, you be thinking about this, girl, because you know I'm coming to you next, because we in a whole different realm versus being, you know, born into technology, born into all of this stuff, and just a matter of, oh, well, I'll just use it for here. Is that how it is? I'm wondering for young people.
Well, I feel like I'm a little older than you think I am first, but I'm not a technologically savvy person. And so it's not easier for me by any means. I think it's definitely just an adjustment because even if you in college or in high school, like did some more with lighting on stage and learned about different lighting techniques, it's all very different when it's just you in your own home with your lamp, you know, and trying to figure out what that looks like. And also figuring out like, okay, I might think this looks good, but it might look totally different from what I think it looks like. And so it's really trusting everyone in the process who has your back to make sure that you look how everyone wants you to look to make a good final product. But yeah, I don't find it very easy, but I'm interested to see what Kathy has to say because it's tricky. I think it's tricky.
Kathy, what do you have to say, girl, about this whole new, especially since not only you got the two things going on, you just really just jumped back into it, you know, and just got back into the feel of being on the stage, being with the team, with the cast, getting that family feeling, you know, those the things that we do, that we become theater families during that time when we're doing rehearsals and stuff. And so you just started getting back into that, and then whammo, here you are. How's it working for you?
It has been an adventure, exciting for me. I love challenges, but Lita and the crew, the tech crew, have made it very, I don't know if the word is easy, but very welcoming. It doesn't make you feel as intimidated, you know, because I do feel like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm 80 years old, I'm trying to figure this out. But it's really interesting because I have an Android phone, I have an Apple laptop, and just trying to do the things between the two. But Chris is so kind and so patient, and Lita as well. And they just help you move around and, they're very kind. Like, no, not right there. Now they've told me 10 times, but no, not right there. But you know what I mean? So you just have to get used to where you have to be. And I think it's going to be even better once I can move the laptop in front of me, you know, to be in the Zoom part so I can see who I'm talking to and exactly see where I am while my camera is filming in the background. I think it's great that they can drop off equipment. So I really felt accomplished when my light came yesterday and had my son put it together. But you know, I really felt, you know, like, wow, you know, progressive, and I'm doing something. And that's what I love about this. And I love the family feel.
It's very important that we have a production team. And I'm sure that there are many people out there that think, oh, it's going to be, this is so easy. Oh, they're going to do, you know, they're filming it. You know, they don't have to set up the set, you know, break it down. You know, all of the hard work that really comes when we're actually out there on the stage, you know, in the theater that we have to put together. And so I'm sure that there are a lot of people out there that don't see this as theater, you know, because we have to make this adjustment so that we can still continue to produce. Because when we continue to produce, we not only support our companies, we support the writers and the actors and the lights guys and the tech and even still the costume people. We still are providing a vital service to those of us that are creative and are still creating, you know, because it didn't stop our show. Basically, it changed our show and it changed how we were going to present our show, but it didn't stop the show. And I think that is so important that we, especially on this today, I'm so glad that we're talking about this, and Lita, that you bringing out all the aspects that it takes to, even though we're doing this on Zoom and people are in their own homes and stuff, it's hard work. You know, we still have to come together as a production team and work this out and be nice and, you know, and be patient and help and support each other as we go through this. So I think that's very important. How do you feel, Lita, that this production in the end will be? Do you think that it will be what your vision is? Because it's so hard, you know, as directors, you know, usually we're able to sit back and see that whole stage, you know, see the whole thing. The actors, like you were saying, Kathy, you know, you're still, you know, you're in your part and all that, and you're seeing that, but the director is out here, has to be able to look at that whole scene at once. How difficult, how many characters first do you have in here, and how difficult has that, and has it been difficult for you to still be able to see the whole picture as a director through Zoom?
So there are 7 actors in this play. And our youngest is 8 years old, playing Tiny Tim. So we've got a whole range of folks in the show, and working with all of these different people, you know, at different times. The good thing is there's not a scene until we get to the curtain call that has all 7 people at the same time, so we can really focus on the smaller scenes. And the nice thing is that I picked this play for Zoom, right? So in Catco's virtual season, I'm thinking about what stories are told well in the virtual medium, right, on the screen. And so I'm really grateful that I'm not trying to take plays that were selected before and squish them into this world. But Juliana, our playwright, did write this play before the pandemic. Had a version of this show that went up in Detroit last Christmas, and she's adapted it for Columbus, and we've talked about adapting it for Zoom, but the story's not set in the digital world, right? So you'll actually see the actors turn and talk to each other. As Kathy was saying, right now when they do that, they can't actually see the other person because their fellow actor is over this way. So that's been kind of amazing to watch actors figure out how to do that. But yeah, I think the biggest thing, especially as, you know, we head into filming and putting all of this together, is we're not going to be able to film everything in order because we have to pause and people have to change the location and set up and turn their, cameras in different directions. So that's going to be, really tricky, that it's not till all of that's done that we see everything together. But just this past weekend, we got to run the whole play, right? And we got to go from the beginning to the end. And it felt like your regular designer run when you show the designers what you've been working on. And then all the pieces we put together, that's just where communication is key. Chris, who's going to edit everything back together, has been great at sharing with me and with the cast images of, here's what I think this looks like on the screen. So there are some scenes where, people are I like to use my hands all the time to show how this is going to be, but people are like big on the screen in vertical, right? And there are other scenes where we use the horizontal picture, and sometimes we put other images in behind them. And then Naja's in a scene where because she's the ghost and she's all powerful, where she's actually huge. So the way I'm taking up the screen right now, the characters that are in the scene with her are tiny where my hands are. And so she can peek through these people and watch them this way. And so because Chris is sharing what that's going to look like, even though we can't see it the way we would in the theater in person, as we all tech a show together, Naja can see that picture and start to think about how her choices have to be balanced because of that.
I'm really looking forward to seeing a Columbus Christmas Carol. I mean, it just sounds like it's going to be so exciting, and that it's going to be a really, really good production. I can't wait to see all of the stuff that you guys are going to bring for us. Before we go, I always like to end my segment of Let's Talk Theater with a word of encouragement from the artists to people out there who are thinking about doing what we're doing and who have a why, but just don't know how to go about doing it. And so why don't we start off with Mama of the group? What's your word of encouragement? And by the way, audience, she is not 80 years old. That was just a figure of speech. But if she was, she'd be a good looking 80-year-old woman. What's your words of encouragement, though, for those out there, like you that are seniors and haven't really been doing anything, but have a heart for it? What should they do?
First of all, you have to realize that the passion of the arts, whether it's theater, music, or dance, never dies. If it's truly your passion, it's in there to stay. I know when I wanted to pursue it earlier in life and I wasn't able to for various reasons, I just kind of thought, well, if I just ignore it, let it die for lack of attention, that doesn't happen. It keeps coming back up and it keeps coming back up. So I want to encourage you that as long as you're breathing and you have the active use of your limbs, you can still do it. Always do something that feeds you, that feeds your passion. And then lastly, I'd like to say, you got to remember this. If you want something you've never had, you've got to be willing to do something you've never done. Thanks.
Naja?
I think for me, where I'm at, something that's been a recurring theme is just really living in your own individuality and culture and making that known and show through your identity and your personality. Our Columbus Christmas Carol is super fortunate to have a bunch of people of color working as actors in the show and on our design team. And so it's just a beautiful feeling to see people that look like you doing the same work that you do and lifting each other up. So I just encourage everyone to really dig into your background and your identity and push that forward in everything that you do.
And of course, Lita, what words do you have for the directors out there right now that are thinking, oh, this is such a daunting challenge? Do you have any words of encouragement for them?
Yeah, I think with so much new right now, I just keep thinking, don't be afraid to try new things. And if you can surround yourself with smart people who are also not afraid to try new things, you can figure it all out together. I think that for almost everybody working on this production, this is our first virtual play. So no one showed up going, oh, I have all the answers and I know what we're doing. But if you listen to each other and you collaborate with each other, you can make something really cool.
we can't end without you telling us, Lita, how do people go about seeing a Columbus Christmas Carol? Where do they go to get tickets, to see it? Just give us that information before we close.
Yeah, so Columbus Christmas Carol, all the information is on CATCO's website, which is catco.org. Click on the Christmas Carol page and you'll see our beautiful cast there and our design team and all the information about the play. Tickets are $20. You can buy a ticket to join us on our opening night and then come to our Zoom opening night party where you get to hang out with the cast and crew. Or you can buy a ticket that you can use anytime during the run. So we'll email you a link that'll be good for 24 hours and you can decide when to use that. And so you just buy a ticket now, and anytime between December 16th and December 27th, you can sit down with the people in your household. The $20 ticket is good for the whole family. It's per device we're selling, not per person. So you can sit down with the people who you are, quarantining with at this moment, or get 2 tickets and call everybody on FaceTime or whatever video you use and watch us play together. So we hope people can come together and join us, and all that info is at catco.org.
Thank you so much, guys, for being with me on Julie Whitney Scott Presents Let's Talk Theater. I am so excited and can't wait to see Kathy, Nija, and Lita's Columbus Christmas Carol, and all of the other great actors, and especially what Chris is going to do with the editing part of this play. Everybody, have a safe, happy holiday. I love you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me, Julie Whitney Scott, your producer and host of Let's Talk Theater, a Mind for God production sponsored event, heard only on WGRN LP 94.1. For the full video interview, go to my Julie Whitney Scott Facebook page.